أهلا بيكم في جولة جديدة في تفاصيل النص الملصق. النهاردة بنكمل مع بطل القصة الشاب بيب اللي وصل لندن وبدأ رحلة إنه يبقى جنتلمان.
تمام، والنهاردة بنركز على فصل مهم، الفصل 24. هو هنا بيقابل شخصيات أساسية هترسم مستقبله.
بالظبط، المصدر بتاعنا هو الفصل ده، وهنشوف تفاعلاته الأولى مع السيد بوكيت معلمه والسيد جاجرز الوصي عليه، وكمان ويميك مساعد جاجرز.
فعلا، وكل لقاء من دول بيكشف له حتة جديدة خالص من العالم اللي هو دخله ده، عالم لندن بقى بكل تعقيداته.
خلينا نبدأ بالسيد بوكيت. المقابلة الأولى معاه نقدر نقول إنها كانت مريحة شوية لبيب.
جدا. بوكيت كان واضح معاه، قال له إن الهدف مش إنك تمتهن مهنة معينة، لا، المهم إنك تتعلم وتكتسب السلوكيات اللي تخليك تحافظ على مكانتك كشاب عنده توقعات عظيمة.
قدم نفسه كمرشد ليه بطريقة ودودة كده ومحترمة.
مظبوط، تحس إن في التزام متبادل بينهم من الأول، وده على فكرة بيعمل تباين كبير قوي مع الشخصيات التانية اللي هنشوفها، خصوصا جاجرز.
طب هو التوجيه ده كان شكله إيه؟ تعليم أكاديمي بحت؟
مش بالظبط. هو التركيز أكتر على الثقافة العامة، الآداب، إزاي تتعامل في المجتمع الراقي. تفاصيل المنهج نفسه مش واضحة قوي، وده يمكن جزء من فكرة إن الجنتلمان نفسها في الرواية حاجة مش محددة المعالم قوي.
تمام. ومن جوه بوكيت الأكاديمي اللطيف ده بنتنقل نقلة تانية خالص. بيب بيقرر يحتفظ بأوضته القديمة وبيحتاج فلوس للأساس.
وهنا بقى بتحصل المواجهة الأولى مع السيد جاجرز بخصوص الفلوس.
الموقف الشهير بتاع الفلوس ده، كان عايز 20 جنيه صح؟
أيوة، بس شوف بقى جاجرز عمل إيه. استجوبه كأنه في تحقيق، يقول له عايز 50؟ لا كتير. طب 5؟ لا قليل. يفضل رايح جاي معاه كده.
إيه ده؟ ليه كل ده؟
وفي الآخر خالص يوافق على 20 جنيه، بس بعد ما يقسمهم كأنهم 4 مرات 5 جنيهات. طريقة غريبة جدا
طب تفتكري ده مجرد حرص على الفلوس وخلاص، ولا في معنى أعمق؟
لا، أعتقد الموضوع أعمق. دي طريقة جاجرز عشان يفرض سيطرته وهبته دايما، يخلي بيب طول الوقت حاسس إنه متراقب ومسائل.
فعلا، كل تفصيلة فيه بتخدم الإحساس ده. الرواية حتى بتقول إن جزمة جاجرز نفسها كانت بتزيق وهو واقف كأنها بتسخر أو بتصدر أحكام. شخصية مرعبة الصراحة.
هو مش مجرد محامي عادي أبدا، ده قوة كده، ليه نفوذ وسلطة في عالم لندن القانوني، ويمكن كمان في عالمها السفلي.
طيب، ولو جاجرز نفسه غامض ومخيف، فالمساعد بتاعه ويميك بيقدم تفسير، بس برضه تفسير غريب. بيقول إن ده أسلوب احترافي مش شخصي.
ويميك ده بقى حكاية تانية خالص، شخصية عملية لأقصى درجة ممكن تتخيليها. فلسفته في الحياة كلها بتتلخص في جملة واحدة: امتلك ممتلكات قابلة للنقل.
يعني إيه ممتلكات قابلة للنقل دي؟
الحاجات اللي تقدر تشيلها وتاخدها معاك لو الدنيا باظت، فلوس، مجوهرات، حاجات مادية وملموسة. حتى طريقة أكله للبسكوت الناشف، الرواية بتوصف إنه بيرميه في بقه كأنه بيدخل دواب في صندوق بريد، مادي وبحت جدا.
يا خبر. طب وشخصيته دي ظهرت إزاي في مكتب جاجرز؟ المشهد بتاع المكتب ده مهم قوي، ممكن توصفيه أكتر؟
طبعا، المكتب نفسه كئيب، ضلمة، والموظفين اللي فيه أشكالهم غريبة، كأنهم أشباح عايشين وسط أوراق القضايا والأسرار. الجو العام مشحون.
مكان مش مريح بالمرة.
والأغرب بقى الحاجات اللي ويميك بيعتبرها مقتنياته الشخصية، بتفرج عليها بفخر كده. عارفة إيه هي؟
إيه؟
قناعين معمولين من الجبس لوش 2 مجرمين كانوا عملاء عند جاجرز واتعدموا. واحد قتل سيده والتاني كان متخصص في تزوير الوصايا.
لا لا لا، إيه ده؟ قناعين لمجرمين وبيعتبرهم مقتنيات شخصية وبيفتخر بيهم؟
بالظبط، وبيحكي عنهم وعن المجوهرات اللي أهدوها قبل ما يتعدموا باعتزاز غريب جدا، كأن الموت والجريمة دول مجرد حاجات بتتجمع زي التحف.
ده بيكشف جانب مرعب قوي عن العالم ده. إزاي الجريمة والعقاب ممكن يبقوا عاديين وماديين بالشكل ده؟
فعلا، ده بيخلينا نسأل عن الأخلاق والقيم في قلب النظام القانوني نفسه. ويميك متأقلم تماما مع الوضع ده، بل ومستفيد منه.
وفوق كل ده ويميك بيعزم بيب يزوره في بيته في وولورث، وبيقول له كمان خلي بالك من مدبرة منزل جاجرز لما تتعشى عنده. بيوصفها وصف يخض، وحش بري تم ترويضه.
كأنك كل حاجة وكل شخص في العالم ده له جانب تاني، جانب مظلم ومخفي. إثارة وتشويق صراحة.
والفصل بينتهي بمشهد قوي جدا في المحكمة. بيب بيشوف جاجرز وهو في ساحة القضاء.
وهنا بقى بنشوف القوة الحقيقية لجاجرز، هيمنته المطلقة على كل اللي في القاعة، شهود، متهمين، محامين تانيين، حتى القاضي نفسه بيتعامل معاه بحذر.
مش بيبقى واضح حتى هو بيدافع عن مين بالظبط، بس تأثيره طاغي، كأنه زي ما الرواية بتقول بيطحن المكان كله في الطحونة بتاعته، بيقلب الدنيا عشان يوصل للي هو عايزه، بيهاجم الشهود بمنتهى القسوة.
مشهد بيوضح قد إيه الراجل ده ليه سطوة ونفوذ مش عاديين.
فعلا الرحلة دي في مكتب جاجرز وعالم ويمك العملي الغريب يعني بتقدم صورة مختلفة تماما عن فكرة الجنتلمان اللي يمكن بيب كان بيحلم بيها.
صحيح، صورة متناقضة جدا مع عالم بيكت الخيادي والراقي نسبيا. هنا في قسوة وغموض وبراجماتية شديدة جدا.
طب ايه الأثر اللي ممكن تسيبه الجولة دي في نفس اللي بيسمعنا؟
أعتقد السؤال الأهم هو إزاي التجارب المبكرة دي مع غموض جاجرز وقسوة لندن الخفية دي والبراجماتية الغريبة بتاعت ويمك، إزاي كل ده هيأثر على بيب نفسه وعلى نظرته لتوقعاته العظيمة من الحياة؟
وهل ممكن فعلا يبقى جنتلمان بالمعنى اللي هو عايزه وهو عايش وسط الأجواء دي؟ هل ممكن ما يتلوثش بيها؟
بالظبط، ده سؤال مهم جدا، ويمكن دي بداية التحديات الحقيقية اللي هتواجه بيب في رحلته. سؤال مفتوح للتفكير.
Ever feel like you just want to understand something complex, like right now, get the core of it without getting bogged down? That's what we do here. We give you that deep dive tailored so you can grab the key knowledge quickly.
And today, we're diving into, well, the world of Mr. Jaggers. He's this really powerful lawyer figure from these excerpts we've been looking at, Life and Law with Mr. Jaggers. We've been focusing on how Pip sees him, his office, his whole setup.
Exactly. Even if you haven't read the source material extensively, Jaggers himself is just fascinating. A great way to look at, power dynamics.
Right, and how people operate in these high-stakes situations.
So yeah, our mission today isn't just retelling bits of the story. It's about pulling out what really matters about Jaggers. His methods, the people around him, that unique, kind of intense, professional atmosphere Pip observes. We want you to leave with a much richer picture of him.
Okay, so where should we start? Pip's introduction to Mr. Pocket, maybe.
Yeah, good starting point. Because Jaggers isn't even there, but he's already shaping things, isn't he? Telling Pocket that Pip just needs enough education to hold his own, not for any specific job.
Exactly. It immediately sets a certain tone, doesn't it? Like Pip's future is being defined as one of means, but, well, without a clear path. It shows Jaggers' power just dictating the broad strokes of someone's life like that.
It really does. And Pocket becomes the explainer and director. The text says their relationship is efficient, respectful, no wasted time. It feels very pragmatic, like education is just a box to tick for Jaggers.
Yeah, ticking the box. And then you have Pip wanting to keep his room at Barnard's Inn, partly for company, for Herbert, a bit more variety. But even that, his own living space, needs Jaggers' approval.
Yeah. Such a small thing, but it says a lot. Jaggers is pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Totally. He's like the architect, as you said earlier. Which brings us to that scene about the furniture. Pip just wants to buy his rented stuff, make it feel a bit more his own.
Right, a few little things, and Jaggers' reaction is just, wow, that rapid-fire questioning, go it! And
Wait, what does she want? 50 pounds.
Yeah.
5 pounds. The range is almost comical, isn't it?
It really is. It feels like a performance, like he's deliberately detached, The actual amount Pip needs seems irrelevant to him. He's just trying to find the rock-bottom number.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pip is just completely flustered. He can't even name a sum. Shows how green he is with this sort of thing.
Definitely. Then Jaggers starts with the multiples of 5. Twice 5? Will that do? 3 times 5. It's so bizarre, almost like he's talking down to him.
It is odd.
Yeah.
And that simple math question, what do you make of 4 times 5? What's he doing there?
I know, it's obviously 20. But then he says, never mind what I make it. I want to know what you make it.
Right? So it's not about the math. It's psychological. He's watching Pip, testing his confidence, his grasp of value, maybe just seeing if he'll push back.
Could be. And they land on 20 pounds, but it feels like Jaggers just decided that was the number, not like they negotiated.
Exactly. And then, boom, tells Wemmick to pay him. Take Mr. Pip's written order and pay him 20 pounds. So decisive, so efficient, but also quite intimidating, that style.
Yeah, Pip definitely finds it unsettling, says it's not of an agreeable kind. He notices Jaggers doesn't laugh, those great, bright, creaking boots.
The boots, you can almost hear them, can't you?
Totally. And the way he waits for answers, head bent, eyebrows knitted, It gives off this vibe of constant suspicion.
Like he expects everyone to be trying to pull a fast one.
And Wemmick just says, oh, that's professional. It's not personal. Which is key, right? It implies this whole demeanor is a deliberate strategy.
Absolutely, a strategy. And that man trap analogy Wemmick uses, that's brilliant.
Setting a trap and just waiting.
Yeah, waiting for someone to slip up. It says so much about how shrewd Jaggers is, maybe manipulative even. It's about control.
Definitely control. And Wemmick saying he's deep as Australia. What a line. It really captures that sense of him being, well, fundamentally unknowable.
Unknowable, yeah. Hidden depths. So then we get a look inside the office itself, and it's not exactly fancy, is it?
Not at all. Only 4 clerks, Wemmick says, because everyone wants Jaggers himself. Speaks volumes about his reputation, I guess.
Huge demand, clearly. People want him, not just any lawyer from the firm, and the clerks themselves. Wow. The first one looks like something between a publican and a radcatcher, dealing with shady types bringing in evidence.
Gives you a real taste of the gritty world Jaggers operates in, doesn't it? The sort of cases he takes.
It really does. And the second clerk, the little flabby terrier working with a smelter who could melt anything. That's just such a weird, specific detail.
I know. And the third one, just copying notes with a face ache. The whole place sounds dark, shabby, maybe a bit grim.
Definitely feels like a place with a lot of unpleasant stories passing through.
And then the casts. Those odious casts.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Pip's instantly repulsed, which you can understand. But Wemmick is so casual about it.
Right. Oh, those. Just likenesses of celebrated clients. Celebrated murderers and forgers.
And he says they brought the firm a world of credit. It's such a chillingly practical view, isn't it? Notoriety equals success in their book.
It really is chilling, taking pride in representing, famous criminals, and Wemmick's interactions with them, dusting them, spitting on the eyebrow.
Giving them nicknames. Old, artful, bounceable. It's this bizarre mix of, affection and total detachment. They're trophies, but also just things.
Macabre trophies.
Yeah.
And the jewelry. Wemmick's brooch, made for a murderer, with the lady in the weeping willow.
Even though, as Wemmick admits, there wasn't actually deuce a bit of a lady in the case for that particular client.
The humor is so dark, it just highlights the total disconnect between sentimentality and the grim reality of their work.
It really does. And the details from the casts, the horsehair in the nostril, the forger's genuine look, they make these criminals feel disturbingly real.
Yeah, very vivid. And then finding out Wemmick gets mourning rings, sometimes just before a client is executed, and that his guiding principle is just get hold of portable property.
It explains so much, doesn't it? It's cynical, materialistic. Even death is a source of collectibles for him.
Pretty stark. But then right after all this grimness, Wemmick does a complete 180.
Yeah. He invites Pip to visit him at home in Walworth. Suddenly, he's friendly, hospitable, offers him a bed, wants to show in his garden his curiosities.
It's such a contrast, a completely different side to Wemmick.
It really is. And then he gives Pip that fascinating bit of advice for dinner at Jaggers. Look at his housekeeper.
Ooh, yes. And describing her as a wild beast tamed, what does that suggest to you?
Well, it reinforces Jaggers' power, right? Suggests he can control even the most untamable forces, even in his own home, that his dominance isn't just professional.
Paints him as someone totally in command everywhere. Okay, so finally, Wemmick takes Pip to court to see Jaggers at it.
And what a scene that is. Just mentioning a relative of that murderer Wemmick had the brooch for sets the stage.
Yeah, and then Jaggers walks in and just takes over, striking the woman, the bench. Everyone's in awe, or maybe terror.
Awe and terror, yeah. His demands, take it down. His threats, I'll have it out of you. And those triumphant shouts, now I have got you. It's pure legal combat.
The magistrates are scared. The criminals are in dread rapture. It's chaos. And Pip can't even tell whose side Jaggers is on.
Exactly. He just seems to be dominating everyone, grinding the whole place in a mill, as the text says.
And that final bit, denouncing the old magistrate until his legs shake under the table.
Yeah. It just cements this image of Jaggers as someone who operates with overwhelming force, completely disregarding politeness or normal procedures, total power player.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive then, what are the main things we've pulled out about Jaggers and his world?
Well, definitely his enigmatic power, right? How he controls situations and people, often indirectly. And his professional world, it's intense, it's dark, filled with these really memorable, often grim characters and details, like the casts.
And Wemmick is such a crucial guide through it all, with his pragmatic, sometimes darkly funny observations.
Absolutely. I think for me, the real standouts were Wemmick's portable property philosophy, explaining the rings and things.
Yeah, that was something.
And that court scene, just the raw display of Jagger's dominance. It really brings his character into sharp focus.
It absolutely does. So we hope this deep dive has given you, our listener, a really solid, quick grasp of this complex character and his environment without you having to wade through everything yourself.
And maybe something to think about afterwards.
Mm.
What does this peek into Jagger's methods and his world make you consider about, well, law, justice, power, maybe even ethics within the context of this story? What other questions pop into your head now about these characters and their society?